show for me and you. Monday.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. Hello and welcome to Eyewitness News broadcasting from number 11 Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadou. Tonight I'm here with
Hawa Idrisu Mustafa.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, we therefore present to you the Inkunim Victory Budget, a people with a manifest destiny for greatness. We are resilient and we shall prevail because, Mr. Speaker, as we have always said, the battle is indeed the Lord's.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta delivers the 2024 budget to the representatives of the people, describing it as a victory budget. But the opposition says it is a bye-bye budget that would leave Ghanaians worse off.
They are leaving behind a debt-riddled economy. They are leaving behind an overloaded tax economy. They are leaving behind a hyperinflation economy. They are leaving behind a high food economy. As if that is not enough, they are leaving behind a high monetary policy rate economy.
Also coming up, and still related to the budget, police arrest 15 persons with disabilities who were tow workers. The offence converging on the ministry without lawful authority as they protested job cuts.
We were there at 10 a.m. this morning, trying to go inside because of the scorching sun. Barely 15 minutes, we were at the car park of the minister when we saw 3 cars of police saying they've lodged a complaint that we are fighting with our sticks at the Roads and Highway Ministry.
And later on Eyewitness News, 4 soldiers stationed at the Jubilee House, one police officer and an immigration officer remanded by the court in the Eastern region after they were arrested for allegedly engaging in armed robbery. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Government assures monetary policy in 2024 will regain price stability.
That's in 50 minutes from the City Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations, including Bugli Radio 88.6 FM in Wa, the Upper West Regional Capital. Also in Zuarungu in Upper East on Word 88.3 FM. In the Northern Region, Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. We are also on Aflau's Holy 98.5 FM in the Volta region. In the Eastern region on Right 90.1 FM in Somanya. We take you to the Ashanti region where you can listen to us on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. Bono region, we are on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Western region, we are in the capital Takrady on multiple platforms, including Premier 100.5, Beach 105.5, and Sky Power 93.5. These are all the platforms on a number of other platforms that you can listen to us on in Ghana if you're living Accra. Meanwhile, we are live on YouTube. We are live on citynewsroom.com. That's our website. We are also on Facebook and we are interactive. Join us on WhatsApp 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. You can also go to Twitter, formerly known as or currently known as X, and send your messages using the hashtag City Newsroom at Umaru Sanda, that's my handle, or at City973 is a station handle on that particular space. Let's know what you make of the budget that was presented. But for a summary of the budget as presented to the House of Parliament today, Hawa will give us that detail.
The Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has announced a zero VAT rate on locally manufactured sanitary pads effective January 1, 2024. This comes on the back of various concerns raised by several civil society organizations regarding the huge taxes on sanitary pads. Ahead of the budget reading today, a group of young women from the northern region stormed Parliament, demanding the immediate withdrawal of taxes on sanitary pads, a situation they say has increased period poverty. Let's hear the Finance Minister's position on the tax on sanitary pads.
Our approach to tax policy since 2017 was to give significant relief to the private sector until expenditure pressures from 2020 required a more aggressive approach. It is important to note that in the short term, fiscal sustainability requires that we improve our tax ratios significantly, otherwise our long-term competitiveness will be eroded. As we all know, our country's 13% tax to GDP ratio is far below our peers. Our target is 18 to 20%, and we are on course for 16%, hoping to be achieved this year. In that regard, it is difficult to implement all the structural reforms and tax reliefs needed to immediately lower and or eliminate certain tax handles. However, I assure this august House that we have heard. We believe in lower taxes as a government for industry, and we are working others aggressively with the GRA and to be cemented with the Standing Committee of the Mutual Prosperity Dialogue. Mr. Speaker, further to the above, the following reliefs have been prioritized for implementation. To extend, Mr. Speaker, the zero rate of VAT on locally manufactured African prints for 2 more years. Mr. Speaker, to waive import duties on import of electric vehicles for public transportation for a period of 8 years. Mr. Speaker, to waive import duties on semi-knocked down and completely knocked down electric vehicles imported by registered EV assembly companies in Ghana for a period of 8 years. Mr. Speaker, to extend zero rate of VAT on locally assembled vehicles for 2 more years. Mr. Speaker, to zero rate VAT on locally produced sanitary pads. Mr. Speaker, to grant import duty waivers for raw materials for the local manufacture of sanitary pads. Mr. Speaker, to grant exemptions on the importation of agricultural machinery equipment and inputs and medical consumables, raw materials for the pharmaceutical industry. Mr. Speaker, a VAT flat rate of 5% to replace the 15% standard VAT rate on all commercial properties will be introduced to simplify administration. To address the negative externalities of plastic waste and pollution, government will review and expand the environmental excise duty to cover plastic packaging and industrial and vehicle emissions. Mr. Speaker, the Stamp Duty Act 2005, Act 689, has not been reviewed since its enactment in 2005. To realign the rate with current economic realities, government in 2024 will review the rates and fees for stamp duties. The bands subject to ad valorem taxes will be expanded, while the specific rates will be reviewed. Mr. Speaker, a simplified tax return will be introduced as a means of promoting voluntary compliance as part of the modified taxation scheme for individuals in the informal sector. This approach will make it easier for taxpayers to fulfill their tax obligations to the state. Mr. Speaker, the Tripartite Committee has concluded negotiations on the national daily minimum wage. The tax-free portion of the individual income tax rate will accordingly be adjusted to take care of the change. Government recognizes the constraints our medical personnel face in providing health care for our citizens. With the passage of the Exemptions Act, government will engage the Ghana Medical Association on waivers for importation of vehicles to ease the transportation burden on our doctors. The policy will enable them to deliver quality and timely health care.
So that was the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta.
Now, he has talked about a number of other sectors, but the big takeaway, if you like, is the one on the taxes on sanitary pads. Over the years, there have been protests both online and on the streets demanding that taxes are withdrawn from sanitary pads. Don't tax my period has been a popular refrain that has been used by campaigners. Today, some of the campaigners converged on the House of Parliament to continue with that protest, demanding that taxation on sanitary pads should be abolished. After the minister's announcement, Richard Sky caught up with some of them and asked them what they made of his presentation.
Periods are biological.
Periods are biological.
Periods are natural.
Periods are natural.
Don't touch my pad.
Good afternoon. My name is Levlin Kunedu Asiedu, and I'm the National Coordinator for the Ghana CSO's Platform on Sustainable Development Goals. Together, we are over 540 civil society organizations in Ghana that have put ourselves together under one umbrella called the Ghana CSO's Platform on Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay, I'll be coming back to you to tell you exactly why you are here. And Madam, what's your name?
My name is Blesla Nafwe-Kando. I work with NOSAC, one of the CSOs, and from Tamale at NOSAC, I'm the health interest lead. So I came with 10 adolescent girls and young women from northern Ghana to join this campaign here today.
Okay, so let me understand. What exactly is the problem? Why are you here? You are holding placards talking about, periods and things. What's going on?
Yes, it's a campaign that has been running. And this year we intensified our campaign by submitting a petition to Speaker of Parliament, Minister of Finance, Minister of Gender, and Minister of Health, telling them some of the health and economic implications for the high taxes that are on the sanitary pads. And we call them to remove those taxes on the sanitary pads. Today, we are here to see the proceedings for 2024 budget because we have made inputs into the budget. We have 4 asks. Ask 1 is to remove the taxes on the sanitary pads. Ask 2 is to provide wash facilities in the schools so that girls who are menstruating can have access to water and hygiene products in school so that they can stay in school because they are staying out of school, missing about 5 to 6 days every month. And when you accumulate it for the year, the implications is that that girl is being left behind. Even if it is one girl, we want that girl to be in school, leave no one behind.
But is there any evidence really supporting the fact that some girls are not going to school merely because of the levels of, reported taxes?
Yes, there is evidence. UNICEF conducted a research and also the National Coalition, GNEC, Teachers Campaign, have also done some research that shows that girls during menstruation are skipping school because of menstruation.
So you have come all the way from the north with young women from the north with you. What exactly have they been telling you is the problem with the tax levels, if any?
So the tax levels are high, leading to very high cost of sanitary pads. Currently, average cost of sanitary pad is between 20 to 30 Ghana cedis, depending on the brand. And girls have to use 1 or 2 packs in a month, depending on our flow. What this means is that this affects them, like Levlin said, those that have to drop out of school for a week or more because they are in their menstrual period. Girls are being taken advantage of in the form of transactional sex just to afford sanitary pad in a month. And to just add, I work with NOSAC. NOSAC is based in Tamale. It's a national NGO. We do a lot of work in communities all across northern Ghana, and we come into direct contact with girls who are facing these challenges every day. And these are their daily realities on a daily level. Some of these girls are here. These are some of the girls that we support and we provide them with sanitary pads. But how long can we continue to provide them with sanitary pads? It's very expensive. There are so many girls we are not able to reach because of the cost of sanitary pads. And so the removal of taxes would help all of us as CSOs as we work in our various ways to provide taxes. Once this is free and all girls have access to menstrual pads, we can rechannel some of these funds into other important issues that young girls are facing.
Much earlier I spoke to you. The finance minister has since addressed Parliament and made 2 main submissions. The first, there will be 0 rating of locally produced sanitary pads. And secondly, import duty on the imports that are used for purposes of producing sanitary pads in Ghana will be waived. What are your reactions?
We commend government for this initiative. It's actually one of our 4 asks for government to do a 0 rating on locally manufactured sanitary pads, and that is good news. However, it is not enough because until our local industries are up to capacity, it means that we are still going to leave some girls behind because accessibility, affordability, and availability are going to still be remain key issues. And so until then, we are still asking for the complete removal of taxes on all sanitary pads.
So like Oliver Twist, you're asking for more?
We are asking for more.
How about you?
It's the same because we made 4, like you said. That's just one of them. And we are also looking at gender wash facility in schools also as well. And also we are looking at having a pad bank in all schools as well. So I think doing is just like maybe doing 5% of the 100% of what we wanted. So we still have 95%, which is too huge. So he needs to do more.
So the campaign continues?
Absolutely, the campaign continues. The campaign continues until every girl and young woman can have accessibility to affordable sanitary pads. Just like my colleagues have mentioned, this is going to reduce the cost of locally produced ones. But the producers have to be able to meet the capacity that will meet the demands of all young women and girls in Ghana. And until then, we will still heavily rely on what is available on the market, which is still quite pricey and unaffordable. And that is why we are still asking for a total removal of all taxes on sanitary pads. When the local producers are able to meet up to the demands and able to produce enough affordable sanitary pads, then we will come back again and engage government and work with government to see how priority can be given to the locally produced sanitary pads.
Don't tax my pad.
Don't tax my pad.
Don't tax my pad.
Don't tax my pad.
Periods are biological.
Periods are biological.
Periods are natural.
Periods are natural.
Remove the pad.
Remove the tax.
Remove the tax.
Remove the tax.
So you had some campaigners at the forecourt of Parliament today who came to demand that taxes that were hitherto imposed on sanitary pads be removed. And you've heard the submission of the Minister of Finance and the response from the campaigners. The future is a conversation that we'll be having on the possibility of the local industry to produce at the prices that would be reasonable for everybody who needs to have a pad, sanitary pad that is, to have it at an affordable price without the burden of the taxes that are imposed resulting in higher prices. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll tell you what the Finance Minister has been saying about other sectors generally.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know, Papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Quartz and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panzapa. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with 8 age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman Mane. Chairman. Hey, Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let's go back to Parliament and hear from the Finance Minister. Howard, what else has he been saying?
Sanda, on the agri sector, the minister reiterated government's commitment to addressing the heavily import reliance on poultry products through the phase 2 of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. Now, this, he said, is to improve the supply and utilization of high-quality input, facilitate credit guarantees, among other interventions for farmers.
The PFJ has a special focus on poultry to address the heavy reliance on imports. Accordingly, 15 anchor farmers and 500 outgrowers in 5 regions, Ashanti, Greater Accra, Bono, East and Eastern regions, will be selected to produce 65,000 metric tons of broilers in 2024. Mr. Speaker, the significant shortfall between demand and domestic production of vegetables requires urgent action, especially considering the impact of the recent supply disruptions from the Sahelian region. The engagement of onion producers and importers prior to this 2024 budget revealed the importance of developing an onion index to track the production, distribution, and consumption of the commodity. It emerged during these engagements that in 2022, demand for onions was 314,000 metric tons, while the local production was 179,000 metric tons. In addition, the national demand for tomatoes in 2022 was estimated at 1.3 million metric tons, while local production stood at 468,000 metric tons. These are 2 prominent vegetables in the Ghanaian households. Mr. Speaker, PFJ2 therefore seeks to improve the supply and utilization of high-quality inputs, facilitate credit guarantees for aggregators to procure improved seeds, fertilizers, and pesticides, and supply them on zero-interest credit terms to vegetable farmers in the immediate and short-term future. Furthermore, the condition and capacity of existing warehouses will be improved to enhance the condition and capacity in storing bumper harvests and maintaining price stability. Mr. Speaker, the growth strategy also aims to boost fish production, mostly through increased focus on oceanic and inland earthen ponds. The goal is to support fishermen, fish farmers, and fish processors in our coastal regions. The interventions planned in this subsector include direct support for production, distribution, and storage of fish, as well as producing and supplying over 110 million liters of premise fuel using gasoline and condensate. Mr. Speaker, part of PFJ2's program strategy is to support the private commercial agriculture under the Economic Enclaves project. Towards this, priority has been given to securing and developing lands to offer security of tenure for large-scale agriculture investments. The focus on large-scale commercial agriculture is to harness the benefits of scale and scope of economics, promote the adoption of technology for efficiency and standardization, as well as support price stabilization efforts. As of December 2022, 3 enclaves in Kasonya, Greater Accra, Kumewu, Ashanti, and Banda Oti region were operational. 5 out of 5 other enclaves are planned in 2024 to promote value addition, integration, and deepening aggregation and value chain systems to serve as economic growth goals. The 3 operational EEPs will lead to production of 160,000 metric tons of rice by end of 2024, over 110,000 acres of land in cultivation for the key staples. Private sector actors investing on EEP will provide employment for the youth with a target of at least 5,000 jobs. Already, Mr. Speaker, 10 private sector actors have responded to the expression of interest to predominantly act as anchor farmers on the developed lands. Government will also pursue the interest expressed by other international private sector operators to unlock investments and technology for the economic enclave projects. We are also using the EEP to leverage catalytic financing from key partners, including MasterCard Foundation and the African Development Bank. To implement the economic enclave at scale and speed, as I mentioned, Ghana Citi's 1 billion has been allocated to Millennium Development Authority to complement PFJ 2.0. This funding will be dedicated to providing critical infrastructure, including irrigation canals, as well as cleaning and developing land for private sector actors in the EEP. Other key interventions under the Ghana Cares program, such as the completion of a foundry, will benefit from this funding. MEDA has a remarkable record from the implementation of 2 compacts under the Millennium Challenge Corporation, one of which was agriculture and agribusiness. They continue to demonstrate experience and ingenuity that will accelerate the delivery of the growth goals to transform agriculture in our country.
Mr. Oforiatta, however, says the government's flagship free senior high school program and TVET will continue next year in a bid to create and expand access to secondary education.
The government's flagship free senior high school and TVET programs continues to create and expand access to secondary school education in the country. In a generation's time, when we have a more educated population which sustains social mobility and cohesion, we appreciate the significance of these decisions. In the year under review, we continue to support a total of 448,000 first-year senior high school students, bringing the total beneficiaries for 2023 academic year to 1.3 million students. In 2024, the implementation of this transformative initiative will continue. Speaker, we continue feeding grants for over 7,500 students in special schools and capitation grants to all public basic schools across the country. Additionally, registration fees of over 471,000 prospective candidates from public junior high school for the BCE were paid to guarantee that all candidates will sit for the examination.
On the government intervention following the spillage of excess water from the Akosombo and Bon dams, Mr. Oforiatta said an amount of 220 million cedis has been budgeted to cater for the flood victims. He further said the government has requested funding from World Bank for the resettlement of the affected victims.
Mr. Speaker, in the last few months, we have been witnesses to the devastating impact of the Akosombo Dam spillage. This follows excessive rainfall recorded in several parts of the country. To preserve the structural integrity of the dam, the Volta River Authority commenced controlled spilling on 15 September 2023. This led to the flooding of downstream communities in parts of Volta, Eastern and Greater Accra regions. The heavy rainfall also caused flooding upstream of the Akosombo Dam and impacted communities in the Savannah, Oti, and Bono East regions. Government, through VRA and NADMO and various agencies under the 13-member high-level interministerial committee headed by the Chief of Staff, comprising of the Ministries of Energy, Finance, Local Government, Environment, Interior, Health, Sanitation, and Water Resources, Defense, Roads and Highways, Education, Information, Health, and Gender, have subsequently, Mr. Speaker, provided various forms of support to the impacted communities. The support included food and related items, drinks, mattresses, mosquito nets, coils, gloves, baby food and diapers, sanitary pads, treated water services and storage tanks, solar lamps, sanitation services, of utility services, and some social infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, the visit of the officials of the Ministry of Finance and myself with VRA to the victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage in Mepe in the Volta region was truly revealing and sobering. Indeed, we empathize with the families that have been affected and displaced by the spillage. We met victims, townsfolk, children, and the chiefs, and of course, the Honorable Member of Parliament, Okujato, during the visit. Mr. Speaker, government has budgeted an amount of 220 million to support the relief phase for the communities affected by the Akosombo spillage, as well as floods upstream in the Oti, Savannah, and Bono East regions. Mr. Speaker, in addition, the Ministry of Finance, after the visit, was quickened to respond. We have requested funding from the World Bank under the IDA crisis response window to support the resettlement of the victims, restoration of livelihoods, compensation, and reconstruction of infrastructure in the affected communities. Mr. Speaker, we recognize the place of climate policy and financing to help address the long-term effects of climate change on victims of drought, flooding, and other adverse weather events. Accordingly, the Ministry has applied to the Global Shield Against Climate Risk Fund, an initiative launched by President Nana Akufo-Addo and Chancellor Scholz during the COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, to assess additional financial resources to support communities upstream and downstream of the Akosombo Dam. I convey the sincere appreciations of His Excellency the President and the entire government to all groups and individuals who have empathized with and supported the affected families. It is in the same spirit that we must continue to be grateful to God that no lives have been lost due to the devastating spillage from the Akosombo Dam and the support that we have all given.
That was the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta.
Let's speak to someone who served in that office in the past as Deputy Finance Minister in the NDC government, MP currently for Cape Coast South. The Honorable Kweku Ricketts-Hagan is joining us on the line. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Mal.
The minister says this is the budget that would secure them victory in 2024. He didn't say it in so many words, but by calling it Nkunim budget, victory budget, it's safe to say that's what he intends to see. You were saying it's a budget that's going to leave us worse off as citizens. Explain in detail, please.
Say that bit again, the last bit.
Your side insists that this is a budget which is a bye-bye budget which is going to leave us poorer, and I'm asking you to explain.
Yeah. Well, good evening to your viewers and those who are listening to us. It is obviously a bye-bye budget. First and foremost, this is actually the last full budget of the government before the general election. The next budget will be a mid-year review, which will be in the middle of next year. And then we will, just before election, have the usual 3-month budget that we do in election time, which should expire by end of March for the new government budget. So it is definitely the last budget of the government. And we don't believe that this government will be retained, or the NPP party will be retained. So it is a bye-bye budget for them in terms of a full budget. But as I said, there are a couple of, mini budgets in between, mid-year and all that. And in terms of the content of the budget, I don't think there's anything really to write home about. I don't know anything that you picked in the budget that got you excited. There is nothing exciting in the budget. It is business as usual, rhetorics, talking, things they will do. But if they haven't been able to do the things they want to do in the last 7 years, I'm not sure how they will be able to do it in 1 year, especially when things are much harder now than they were in the last 7 years. Basically, the hardship was building up from year one, and 2017 when they came in, and every year things were getting harder. Now it has snowballed for 7 years, and things are much, much harder now with the situation that we're in, where we have actually ended up on an IMF program. This budget is supposed to be more or less an IMF shepherded budget, or a budget presided over by the IMF. But we are here to actually check the numbers to make sure that I pick certain numbers that did not look right to me. So, sorry, I've indicated to my leadership on my side that we need to re-examine those numbers and because it doesn't even follow the trend to see whether I can share, some of those numbers with you. When you look on the growth, chart that they have projected, you realize that and they were talking about growth, and you realize that the contribution of I'm talking about sector growth to GDP. You're looking at agriculture, you're looking at industry, and you're looking at service. There are some numbers in the industry that did not look right because it's been declining since they took over. And the 1D1F hasn't actually helped industry in terms of sector growth. The same with agriculture. It's also been declining since the beginning of the planting for food and jobs. The contribution of GDP coming from agriculture has actually been declining. So I'm not quite sure what they've been planning that they call planting for food and jobs. And we don't know which industry they are opening. They will always refer to a conflict that they are opening that is not contributing to industry, to basically the industrial sector of the GDP. So we are here to look at the budget in details. We're just looking at what we have received, that we are going through. But I think we will see more things in the budget. We also know that there's 11 billion of taxes, but it's been hidden. But we will unwrap it, and then in the next couple of days come up with where all the taxes are hidden and how they amount to the 11 billion that we are talking about. One thing I also want to mention is that he did say that they took an economy from about 215 or something billion, and basically they've grown the economy to $1 trillion. What he didn't tell us is that we have done rebasing of the economy. When you do rebasing, you add to growth where you have not actually physically earned it, if it makes sense that way. Because when you rebase, you change your base year. In 2018, there was a rebasing done where the base year was changed from 2006 to 2010, I believe. So that obviously brings in some nominal GDP that otherwise had not been accounted for in previous years. So these are some of the things that we will basically unwind, if you like, or we will bring to bear when we had opportunity to.
Are you not simply trying to create trouble where there's none? You, before the presentation of the budget, your side had said Ghanaians should brace themselves for more taxes. You even gave a figure of how much taxes the government was going to raise and asked us to prepare and tighten our belts. The minister did not mention specifically any tax. No, you are saying that the taxes are hidden and you would have to go behind the scenes and discover them. I'm a bit concerned about this position.
If they are hidden, don't be concerned. It is our responsibility and our job to make sure that we hold the government accountable. Therefore, if we have seen this, we will have to open it up to Ghanaians to see exactly where these taxes are, because they've been disguised. And that was the whole idea, for Ghanaians not to think that they have imposed more taxes on them. So we have to actually open it up, so you see where these taxes are. And as I've told you, it's about 11 billion. Okay. And we will come and give you the breakdown of that.
If you could,
wrote the budget, not us.
If
so
you
whenever
could,
we are able to come out of the budget, whatever we're able to extract out of the budget, will not be we finding trouble where there's none. There's trouble, that's why we are finding it.
Okay. If you could indulge me, I would be grateful if you can just stay on the line, because I want to speak to your colleague who is in government, Deputy Trade Minister, Dr. Stephen Amoah, known as Stika, MP for Inshai. So he's joining us on the other line. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. The minister presented the budget statement. We've heard what happened. The minority side believes you have concealed taxes therein. It will take them days to unearth these taxes and announce them to Ghanaians, but they are very sure, cocksure, that there are taxes buried in there that they are going to reveal to us to show how we are going to really suffer. Can you just spare us all the struggle of going through that behind the door investigation and tell us what you are taxing?
Thank you very much. My regards to our listeners this evening. Thank you for having me on your prestigious platform. Actually, I find it very difficult to understand the angle from which my honorable member, in fact, senior, is coming from. Let me be honest and frank with you. We all got a budget statement today. I mean, after he had read it. And honestly, going through, I've gotten to where we have a tax relief. And I was thinking even there were too many. Because tax policy management is rated in India. And for that matter, you don't wake up and say, I'm increasing taxes or I'm actually reducing taxes. It has to be done depending on the situation of your fiscal policy, whether it is so much disturbed that you have to consolidate it. And that is the situation which we find ourselves in today. But before the budget, our brothers, in collaboration with other relevant stakeholders, were putting out a cry. I mean, compelling the government and threatening the government not to increase taxes and that there's cash. Honestly speaking, it is even a strategic drift not to even increase taxes at this time. But of course, for humanitarian reasons or human faces, the finance minister and the government tried hard to listen to Ghanaians, not to burden them with any additional taxes, which rather should have been the right decision for now, for us to actually work on our fiscal space and put this country's economy on a very sound footing and move it forward and continue the restoration processes and the consolidation so that we can really get back on track properly and move on. But I think Ghanaians are not expecting that. I'm yet to find the taxes he's talking about because I haven't finished reading the document. In a way, of course, I mean, definitely every year's budget, you wouldn't have a budget that you say that nothing will be talked about concerning our internally generated fund, because the most important option to use now in dealing with our economic situation now is to generate revenue internally and use that for our financing and avoid as much as possible debt financing, which will lead to contracting loans to continue jeopardize our economic stability situation or growth. So I don't know what he wants to really talk about. Rather, I think he was going to allow the government for a standing zero rate of VAT on locally manufactured African prints for 2 more years, waive import duties on import of electric vehicles for public transportation for a period of 8 years, waive import duties on semi-knocked down and completely knocked down electric vehicles imported by registered EV assembly companies in Ghana for a period of 8 years, extend zero rate of VAT on locally assembled vehicles for 2 more years, zero rate VAT on locally produced sanitary parts, grant import duty waivers for raw materials for the local manufacturer of sanitary parts, and grant exemptions on importation of agricultural machinery equipment and inputs and medical consumables, raw materials for the pharmaceutical industry. All these were decisions or steps taken by the government to alleviate the hardship confronting Ghanaians and also listening to Ghanaians as a listening government. So I think this is where our emphasis and our concentration should be, rather than trying to look for areas that you can only just criticize destructively. I think it doesn't augur well for us as a country.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc. So, but the critical thing is you have said that you are not reducing, but slashing taxes completely on issues having to do with the locally produced sanitary pads. But the question, and you are Deputy Minister for Trade, is the capacity, is the industry ready for that? So that the question would be, if 90% of the sanitary pads are imported, you slashing down taxes on the locally produced ones will mean nothing because people will still have to resort to importing because the local product is simply not there. How do you maneuver your way through that?
Let me get this clear to Ghanaians. When it comes to production, there are three main important relevant stakeholder groups or bodies. One, of course, government has to make sure it provides or offer a very conducive environment for industries to thrive and grow and kind of solve our problems and make sure that we can create the needed balance between demand, aggregate demand and aggregate supply. That is there. But majorly, it is on the private producers themselves. If you go to the developed economy, it is not the government that actually produces all these things. It is rather the private sector or the entrepreneurs or the manufacturers. The other factor is the banking industry. As much as possible, they have to also do their best to support the private sector. So I understand your concern very well. However, we as a government are taking steps to encourage local production of sanitary pads so that incrementally we can probably get to the point that probably one day we'll say that we're not even going to import. It is one thing. But the other thing that the government has to look at critically, especially those who have direct role in managing our taxes, is leakages. Because there are goods in Ghana here being produced. However, those that we import, even retail prices are higher than the direct production cost or prices of the manufacturers. Not solely because of other production items, but because of tax evasion. So as much as we are even trying to provide conducive environment, enabling environment for them to produce a lot of sanitary pads and other things that will meet the utility expectations of the people, we should also look at other areas that will not give the importers even an advantage over them in terms of cost of production. Because most of them, in my opinion, also evade taxes. Go and find out why those who are producing electrical cables, such as Nexus, tropical cables or whatever, and the other part, the three major ones, one of them has collapsed entirely. The others are actually functioning at half capacity. Because of some of these things, their counterparts that are importing are basically evading taxes, making their profit margin so high that they sell the things very cheap. So we cannot meet demand today as you were raising, correctly. However, we are helping and encouraging them to upscale their production of performances and go at a speed that at a point in time, we may not have to even import at all. And that is the decision of the government today. I really find the budget too good when it comes to tax policies. Because in my opinion, honestly speaking, we should have rather introduced a lot of new taxes for us to deal with the step fiscal space, which of course we all know our debt to GDP is high as a result of impaired productivity that has been going on for about 2-3 years because of post-COVID issues. The government had revenue shortfalls of about 12 billion, and that we resort to the use of debt financing while GDP was not really growing remarkably, and because of our high debt to GDP. That led to most of our problems today. For us to restore that, we need to reduce the rate of borrowing and increase revenue generation. And the major way we can do is tax collection. Of course, they talk about broadening the base. And of course, people talk about expenditure cut, which I also agree. But how much can we cut, and how much are we going to save from that control to meet the high consolidated demand or the aggregate demand in terms of government obligation in performing its expenditures or outlay activities. We need to do all this analysis in a very financial, economic manner, not just qualitative statement and arguing and making of. We have three key areas: our goods and services, and then our social contract with the people. We need to meet these, perform these obligations. The only way we can is to finance them mostly from our internally generated fund. If we don't, we are still going to escalate our problems, because now it's like a bitter pill. If we avoid the bitter pill, that will save the child tomorrow. then don't let us be happy and smiling. We may lose a child.
Okay.
And that is what we find ourselves in because of pressure from opposition. And I want to also end with it. I beg NDC and MPP. Anytime that NDC, they are in government, and they are coming out with policies that might help the people in the long term, we, the MPP guys, will go out there, incite Ghanaians against it, and they may not be successful. And when MPP to they are in government, the same thing NDC guys will do. So are we going to recycle these antisocial behaviors and destroy Ghana, or at a point in time, we'll pull brakes and say, no, enough is enough. As the Latin will say, status el status. We need to come together, place premium on the importance of building Ghana, not for our group and individual interest. But if we keep on doing these things, my brother, Ghanaians will not really get any satisfaction from the two parties or the government, and will continue to suffer the way we are suffering, especially when we are import-driven economy.
Okay.
I think it is time that we put an end to some of these things.
Thank you so much. That's Honorable
It's a pleasure.
Deputy Minister for Trade and MP for Nshai, Dr. Stephen Amoah, also known as Stika. Let me conclude with Kweku Ricketts-Hagan, who's been on the other line listening into the conversation. Honorable, let me just take off from where he ended. Do you not think it is about time you, as an opposition party, praise a government that they simply did not present taxes rather than going through the route you're going, where you say that you're going to unearth these taxes later in the voluminous document that was presented? That's what Sika seems to be suggesting.
Well, I admire my honorable brother's, patriotism. But with all due respect, we are all patriots. We all want the best for Ghana. Whatever is happening in the country, if it's good, we will all be enjoying it. If it's bad as it is now, we will all be suffering it. But with all due respect, let's talk about the failings of his government, not the patriotism of NDC, the MPP did that and that. The government, the current government, the MPP government, under His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Baobia, that government has failed this country. The budget that was presented is not going to do anything to uplift anyone. And let me just go to this point. He was talking about internally generated. I don't know what he means by the internal generated. If government is generating any funds internally, it's either going to come from taxes or from domestic borrowing, apart from, royalties and other things that we get. So if you want to generate the fund internally and not get it from anywhere, it is either going to come through taxation or it's coming from borrowing from your own people, which is the domestic. We have borrowed to the hilt. As it stands at the moment, we owe our external creditors almost $30 billion. That's about 375 billion. And we don't have any concrete plan in place as to how we are going to be paying the money. And let me tell you something. What we see, whatever fiscal space that you see in the budget is artificial. Whatever deficit that they are talking about is also artificial. Because these numbers, if you want to look at your deficit, you are looking at your revenue against your expenditure. When you are not paying your debt, when you are not servicing your debt, you are not basically applying or you are not basically fully honoring your expenditure. So how can your deficit be the right amount of deficit? You have parked your paying your external debt, and you are claiming that you have this space, or you are claiming that you have this amount of deficit. Isn't that artificial? And if that is not addressed, whoever comes in, which obviously is going to be NDC in the next government, this will become a problem for us to solve. Because all of a sudden, our deficit, the picture of our deficit will change. Because when we come, we will have to address this external debt issue. And it will then feed into an expenditure and give us a much bigger deficit than is being presented to us at the moment. The same with the fiscal space.
Very well. Let's leave it here.
Presented with no fiscal space, therefore very little can be done. So we are not getting the true picture until we tackle the issue of the external debt.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Honorable Kweku Ricketts-Hagan. He was a Deputy Minister of Finance, later Central Regional Minister is currently the Member of Parliament for Cape Coast South. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We return with more, including the news from the Eastern region that 4 soldiers who were stationed at the Jubilee House, 1 immigration officer and a police officer, have been arrested and remanded by the court for allegedly engaging in armed robbery. Plus, the persons with disability who went to protest today and who were arrested, apparently the police say they did not use the right procedure and channel to demonstrate. We have that when we come back. Please stay.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Oh, what a nice move towards the cashier.
Yep, you can trust my wife for that when she's using my Access Bank Visa card.
Oh, look at that. Too much swag.
Her swiping is impeccable, especially when Access Bank Visa cards are offering up to 40% discount.
Aha, I see where her confidence is coming from. A 40% discount. That's something. What is she paying for?
It's a spa moment.
Get an Access prepaid, debit, or credit Visa card. Transact and enjoy up to 40% discount when you shop at your favorite retail outlets or Access Bank loyalty partners. Your Access Visa cards can be used for local or international transactions. Access Bank, more than banking.
Calling all our daddies, students, and well-wishers. Join us for an unforgettable day as Presec marks its 85th anniversary with a grand speech and prize-giving day hosted by the Odadia 98-year group under the theme Building Upon a Legacy of Excellence, Developing Holistic Values-Driven Change Agents. Chaired by Mr. James Boateng, 2018 National Best Farmer and Odadia 78. The event starts at 10 a.m. on the 25th of November 2023 at the newly built ceremonial grounds. Speakers for the day will include Dr. Delali Fiagbe, Head of Psychiatry at UGMS, and Mr. Kwabena Asantipoku, Country Director of British International Investment, both proud Odadia 98. Our guest of honor is Dr. Yao Osayedutro, Minister of Education, with Dr. Ofori Sapo and Right Reverend Professor Joseph Obri Yabuamante gracing the event as special guests. Mark your calendars, 25th November at the Presec Ceremonial Grounds. Oh, come along and join us as we celebrate 85 years of excellence. Brought to you by the Odadia 98, Illuminator with the Beamos Lumen.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan. Make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Details of our stories now. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has stated that monetary policy in 2024 will aim to regain price stability and ensure a continuous disinflation process. This comes as the Bank of Ghana is taking significant steps to restore macroeconomic stability through major monetary and exchange rate policy changes on the back of approval for a 36-month arrangement under the International Monetary Fund's $3 billion extended credit facility. Already, the Bank of Ghana in September 2023 kept its key lending rate to commercial banks unchanged at 30% after meeting to review development in the economy. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta disclosed this when he delivered the 2024 budget and economic statement in Parliament.
The Bank of Ghana has maintained the tight monetary policy stand to firm up the disinflation process. Among other measures, the bank has further raised the monetary policy rate by a cumulative 300 basis points in the year to September 2023 to 30%. In the outlook, monetary policy in 2024 and at the medium term will aim to regain price stability. Inflation is expected to remain within the IMS program's monetary policy consultation clause of 29.4%, with a symmetric band of 4% at the end of 2023, an end-year target of 15% in 2024, and trend further down to the medium-term target band of 8 plus or minus 2% by end December 2025. A tight monetary policy stance, favorable base drifts, relative stability on the foreign exchange market, and a favorable food harvest are expected to outweigh inflationary pressures over the near term.
Meanwhile, government is projecting inflation to end 2023 at 31.3%. It, however, expects inflation to slow down to 15% at the end of 2024. Here is Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta again.
Mr. Speaker, please permit me to present the macro performance of the first 3 quarters of 2023 within the context of the targets that were set in the 2023 Mid-Year Fiscal Policy Review. Before I proceed, it's important that I restate the targets we set in the 2023 Mid-Year Fiscal Review. These include overall GDP growth of 1.5%, non-oil real GDP rate of 1.5%, period inflation of 31.3%, overall balance commitment of overall primary balance commitment of minus 5.7% of GDP, primary balance of minus 5% of GDP, and gross international reserves, excluding oil funds, encumbered assets and pledged assets, sufficient to cover at least 0.8 months of imports of goods by end 2023.
You heard Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The Chief Executive of Meridian Port Services, Mohammed Samara, is expressing optimism that the newly commissioned gantry cranes and works for the second phase of the Tema Port expansion project will accelerate an export-driven economy in Ghana. According to him, the facility is in consonance with government's policy of turning the economy into an industrial hub. Speaking on the sidelines of the official opening of the project, Mohammed Samara stressed the need for public-private partnership that will create sustainable jobs for the youth.
Well, ports are the key infrastructure, for economy. And without ports, the economy cannot actually progress and go further. So such infrastructure doesn't just only provide, a job for the people to come and work on the port, but as it was said in the speeches, it's an investment enabler. There is a lot of ports where me and my colleague Curtis, the CEO, have seen other ports in the world where they started from nothing, and because they have worked in creating such connectivity between markets, these ports eventually kind of enabled the investment of economic zones. So we talk about industrial zone, we talk about economic zones development. If you don't have such infrastructure that the economic zone can plug into.
That was the Chief Executive of Meridian Port Services Limited, Mohammed Samara. On his part, the Regional Managing Director for APM Terminals, Igor van der Essen, emphasized the need for connectivity of trade amongst continents.
Doing trade means that we connect the world, and one of the important touch points is a port. And if you connect via a port, you want to be fast, you want to be efficient, and you want to be able to host the largest vessels, because there you have scale. And then it's about where do you concentrate that? That's what we call the transshipment hub. And you have seen here that 1.4 kilometers of quay, 12 large cranes. We can host 4 of those large vessels that you have seen sailing in today to make that happen. Ghana has real entrepreneurship. And I would really encourage Ghana to keep on using that. That's the reason why we have felt confident to make the investment here in Ghana. And then, of course, for us as a foreign investor, it's important that there is a stable government policy, because this business is not a short investment. This is about the long term. So use your entrepreneurship and focus on the long term. I think that combination is worth gold for Ghana.
That was the Regional Managing Director of APM Terminals for Africa and Europe, Igor van der Essen, and in City Business News on Eyewitness News. The business news on Eyewitness News was brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Bank Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Up next is Point Blank.
Hello, Linda. You won't believe what I am planning next.
I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, oh. That be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, Cry. With a GCB Big Move personal loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like, seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours. Call 0800-422-422 or visit your nearest GCB branch today to fund your next big move as we celebrate 70 years of greatness. T's and C's apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
After a busy day at work, consumed by the responsibilities of work, family, church, etc., it's great to get home to a detailed and comprehensive coverage of the day's biggest stories, ensuring that all angles of the various news items are accurately and adequately covered. CNR seeks to leave no stone unturned to bring viewers the best in news reportage. Watch CNR for a comprehensive bulletin of the day's biggest stories at 8 p.m. every single day of the week, only on City TV.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how's your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panzapa.
Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz?
No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer.
Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design?
It's superb.
Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency.
Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman Mane. Chairman. Hey,
Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
My name is Umaru Sanda Amado. Tonight on Point Blank, we'll talk about the 2024 budget, but we'll do a quick flashback on the 2022 budget. That's a budget of 2 years ago. That budget introduced the electronic transfer levy, e-levy, and also scrapped toll booth collection or toll collection in the country. Immediately after the minister made the announcement in Parliament, the roads minister issued a statement and asked all toll workers to go home. Close your toll booth and go home, for there's freedom in town. The toll workers were given assurances that there will be jobs for them after they were sent home from where they've been working. These toll workers are mostly persons with disability who have been strategically positioned at these places as a way of dealing with inclusion matters. But 2 years on, the ex-toll workers say the government's promise to them has not been delivered. And on the eve of the delivery of the 2024 budget, they decided to go picket at the ministry, demanding that solutions be found to their problems and promises be delivered. Now, instead of receiving goodies, they were sent to the police cells. Evelyn Gadre is deputy. He is with the Toll Workers Association. It's a she, deputy. She's a deputy spokesperson of the Toll Workers Association, the group that went to demonstrate today. She's joining me on the line. Evelyn, you're welcome to Citi FM.
Yeah, deputy person of PWD Toll Workers. PWD person with disability Toll Workers.
So, deputy what? What's your designation? Deputy spokesperson.
Yeah.
Okay, of persons with disability who are also toll workers.
Yes.
Good. What happened between yesterday and today? Try and manage English for me. I would be grateful.
Okay. We came yesterday morning.
Evelyn, your place is noisy. Are you still at the demonstration?
No, we are not there. For now, we are.
There's some noise in the background.
We are joining.
Oh, okay. Can you move out of where you are so that I can hear you clearly? Okay. So while you are doing that, you can then be telling me what happened between yesterday and today. Hello, Evelyn. Yes. So yes. Good. So while you are going outside, tell me what transpired.
We went there yesterday morning for our arrest, and the minister was in the room.
Hello.
Yes.
Is this Evelyn?
Yes, please. Can you please?
Yes. So I can hear you now. So tell me your story.
Okay. We went to the ministry yesterday morning to see the minister for our arrest, and then that's for our arrest because he promised to pay us until the reassignment. So yesterday we went there because he told us that if we leave, we can come there anytime. So yesterday morning we went to the ministry. When we went there, he was not around, so we had to wait for him. So we waited until the PRO came. He said the minister is not around. So we are going to a court meeting. Yeah. So we told him that we wait for him until he comes. But we sat down until around 8 something yesterday. So he came and he said we cannot stay there, so we should go out because that place is a expensive zone. So we came out behind the wall on the pavement. We came to sleep over there. Yesterday night we slept. So this morning we were on the stand. We were on the stand now till 10 a.m. And we said no. The way the mosquito bite us yesterday, we'll go to the reception and then wait for the minister. So we tried our best that we can enter the yard. But unfortunately, the security men said they will not allow us to go. So we waited until we saw a vehicle car entering the yard. So we followed the car. As soon as we enter the gate, the security men, the way they did us, they just push us to the gate. Even my head, they hit the gate. They hit the gate. And they hit my head. Like, I don't know what to say. My head is aching me as I'm speaking now. I cannot control myself. You see? So, we went there after that incident. So we went there silent because we know what we want. We were waiting for our father. So by 15 minutes time before we realized the police car, they brought three police vehicles. This vehicle, sorry. They said we should get inside the police. What have we done? He said, no, get inside the car. and you talk to side. So you get to police, they say you are under arrest. For what? They say you are under arrest. Stop first. But first on what? They say you should keep silent. So they collect all our phones. I don't know what we did. Are we our best or what? We are not our best. We are not there for war. We went there for peace. For our arrest. You get us. But unfortunately, one of our members, our leaders came. They heard it, so they came to jail us over there. So now we are there. But tomorrow morning, the minister said he will meet us tomorrow morning. So we'll go there again.
I see. You keep saying arrears. Which arrears is this? What work did you do for which reason you are expecting pay? Because toll booths have been closed for 2 years now.
Yes, and he said he's going to pay us until he reassign us. So anytime we can come then at least we start with the case. So we waited for 1 year, 2 years. 2 years so close, 2 years. But we went there. So 1 year we said no, we have to do follow up and then see our daddy. You see, we didn't go there for war. But it's all we are only like we are 9 people. We are not up to 10. We are 9. Because we have that they came in. We were 9. We're 9. So we didn't go there for war. Like instead we go there for war, that would be like 1,000 people. Now no. But for now, the parliament said they will take care of that. They said they will take care of that. So we are on it.
Since the toll booths were closed, have you guys been paid any money?
No.
So not even the first month, they've not given any allowance?
No.
How many are you?
The PWD.
Yes.
388.
And nobody has been given money?
No. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay.
The able are working, and we are not working. Some of the able are working. Some of the toll workers, they are able. They are working now. Some are the various other rules and all kind of things. They are working, and now we are in the house. It's not fair. It's not fair. We are not receiving any money. It's not fair. It's not fair. They don't even regard us at all. Why?
How has life been for you the past 2 years that you've not been receiving any payment?
It is not easy for us. Even some of our members, they committed suicide. Even me, Evelyn, I decided to do that because life was very, very, very terrible for me. I cannot even control myself. I cannot even control myself with my children. Because they don't know what is going on. They will be giving you pressure. If you don't take care, you just do what you don't want to do. You just do what you don't want to do.
Those who are arrested, have they all been released?
Yes, we are all been released.
And what did they say to you? Did they ask you to come back to report to the police station, or they just said you should go?
No, they said we should come tomorrow we should come and report ourselves tomorrow.
Which police station?
I can't answer.
But you are also going to the finance ministry tomorrow?
The highway ministry.
Yes, the road and highway ministry. You'll be going there tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Are you positive that you get to meet the minister tomorrow?
We don't know. So the policeman said, they said tomorrow we'll meet them, so we don't know whether he's coming or not.
All right.
We'll go together. Yes. So 5 of us.
We'll go. Okay. We wish you all the best, and thank you for speaking to us.
You are welcome. Thank you.
That's Evelyn Gadri. He's the deputy spokesperson of Persons with Disability Toll Workers Association. Now, a very disturbing story coming through that some soldiers have been arrested, a policeman and immigration officer, because they allegedly engaged in armed robbery. Our correspondent in the Eastern region is Neoni Amati Kanaku. He has the story. Neo, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, Sandra.
When did this start?
So, according to prosecution, these officers, that is Staff Sergeant Mensa Dominic, who is stationed at the Jubilee House, together with Lance Corporal Tete Wayo, also at the Jubilee House, and then the fifth accused person, who happens to be LCO Richard Ochre, is an immigration officer stationed at the Interior Ministry. That is on Friday, 10th November, together with other military officers stationed in the northern region, embarked on a journey to Akanten. Now, Achim Akanten is located in the lower part, that is lower Achim area. Now, it's very close to Osenase and then Akwatia. So on that 10th, that fateful day, the immigration officer picked the two officers who are stationed at the Jubilee House in his Mitsubishi L200 with registration number GS1116-11. And then they picked the other two officers who came from the northern region, based in the Northern Command. And then they also picked another accomplice who happens to be the siege accomplice named Kelvin Marfo. Now, Kelvin Marfo is a security personnel who works with one of the mining companies in the Akwatia area. Now, these persons gathered, and then on 11th, that is the Saturday, they went to the complainant's house, who happens to be a cocoa purchasing clerk, and also dealt in some gold in that particular area. Now, according to prosecution, these armed men dressed in military uniform, armed with military rifles, at 3 a.m. on 11th November, went to the complainant's house, knocked on his door, and demanded that he come out. He came out, and then they questioned him. They wanted him to give them 100,000 Ghana cedis. So the complainant, upon seeing the rifle, indicated to them that he doesn't have in possession that 100,000 Ghana cedis. They are demanding, but he's got some amount of gold, which happens to be 5 pounds of gold with a market value of 29,000 Ghana cedis. So he told them he can give them 10,000 out of that 29,000 if that gold is sold. So these military guys, together with the immigration person and then the private security guy, then took over the gold from the man, pushed him, and then fled the area. So unfortunately for them, they didn't take away the man's mobile phone. So the complainant called the Akwatia divisional commander, Akwatia police commander, to inform him about the incident, and also placed a call to one officer who is stationed at the Osenase police station to also inform him about the incident. Luck, however, eluded these officers when they arrived at the Osenase police checkpoint, where the police had mounted a barrier waiting for them. So the police apprehended them and then took them to the Osenase police station, where the Akwatia commander also rushed there to take over the case. Now, the Akwatia commander moved them from the Osenase police station to the Akwatia police station, and then began his investigation. Now, interrogating them in the presence of other police officers, these suspects admitted to the crime, and then also gave the gold that they had stolen from the cocoa purchasing clerk. They handed it over to the police commander. The police commander also did his entries, and the regional CID, that is Chibi, regional CID, took over the matter, and then the suspects were today arraigned in court. Sandra.
So, did they confess to this crime in court as well, or their pleas were not taken? Do you know what happened in court?
So, their pleas were, their charges were read to them today, but their pleas were not taken. the prosecutor, that is the assistant state attorney, pleaded with the court to remand them pending further investigations from the police, which the judge in question, that is Her Lordship Matilda Ribeiro, also admitted and then gave the remand. So they've been remanded to reappear in the court, that is on 28th of November this month.
Very well. Thank you so much. That's Neonia Mate Kanako. He's our correspondent in the Eastern region, bringing us up to speed on developments in relation to that gold robbery gone bad for persons who are soldiers and other persons in the security services. And they have been put before court and have since been remanded. Wait for the next date of hearing and we'll feed you in with the information that we have. But before we go, the big story tonight is that the Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, has delivered a budget to the House of Parliament. Let's give you a flavor of what he's been saying to Ghanaians, specifically on the gross domestic product, what the target of the government is. Listen.
We have also learned key lessons from the helpful feedback from our stakeholders. Most of these formed the core of the macro-critical reforms being implemented under the IMF-backed PCPEC program. Mr. Speaker, as the government's PCPEC program enters the second year, we plan to assess progress and deepen our collaborations for reforms at the PFM Summit to be organized by April 2024. We encourage our development partners to join us on this journey. Mr. Speaker, in the rail sector, we expect overall rail GDP growth to increase from an expected 2.3% in 2023 to 2.8% and reach 5% in 2027. This yields an average growth rate of 4.3% over the 2024-2027 period. Non-oil rail GDP is projected to slow down from an estimated 2.8% in 2023, 1% in 2024, and pick up to 5% by 2027, given an average growth rate of 4.1% over the 2024-2027 period.
So that's Ken Ofori-Atta. If you want more, go to our website, citynewsroom.com. There's a breakdown and also infographics on our new media platforms where we've summarized and simplified the issues for you. But that would be it for tonight's edition of Eyewitness News. It came to you from number 11 Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra on 97.3 Citi FM Relevant Radio always. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadou. I did this with Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Production by Kobna Wilson and Sami Uyafi. Technical support from Daniel Squashi. And new media support from Edwin Kwakofi. We return tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Let me remind you that there's a playback of this show at midnight in case you missed any part of it and you want to listen again, or you simply missed the whole show and want to listen again, 12 o'clock on 97.3 Citi FM. But up next, I'll leave you with Face to Face. It's a show on Citi TV hosted by my good self. It airs on Tuesday nights. And we repeat it for you on radio on 97.3 Citi FM on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Tonight's edition features former Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NDC, Joseph Adekoka. Good night.